Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Just come back from seeing this, and right, it's the fifth film to be directed by David Yates, that is based in the J.K. Rowling's world of wizardry. I really liked David Yates' last four installments of Harry Potter. I really liked those movies, and there was the tone and the darkness of those movies. They became very dark films, but obviously that was reflected by the story. I mean, the stories themselves got darker as they went on, and he's retained a lot of that darkness in this film. I found it to be quite dark compared to the first couple of Harry Potter films. So for an introduction, I didn't expect it to be quite as dark as it was, but that's not me complaining. I really enjoyed this film. Eddie Redmayne as the lead character, and Newt Scamander. I didn't expect any less, to be honest with you. I really liked his performance in this. He's such a quirky actor, and I think he added a lot of depth to this character, and I just really brought this character alive, and I just really liked his performance in this. I also thought Ezra Miller as a Credence Barebone. He plays a sort of orphan. He's an orphan, and he's got a lot. He's a very troubled character. You kind of get little hints to what he's going through, and what he's been through, and that was probably where this film really kind of went a little bit dark. I would say, but I was actually really intrigued by this character that Ezra Miller was playing, and I think he did a very good job at portraying this character, and to a point where I'm actually really looking forward to see what he brings to the character of the Flash in the DC cinematic universe. But yeah, I really liked that character, and I thought it was that's when the film got quite dark. Was around when the story kind of went and evolved around this character, Credence Barebone. Now, I know that in the title, the film is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and there's a lot of magical creatures in this film, as you would expect with the film having a title like it does. But I don't fancy the film was as focused on these creatures or these beasts as I thought it would. Now, for me, that's not actually a negative point. I've heard a lot of reviews out there that kind of touched on that, but it didn't affect my viewing pleasure. I still enjoyed this film. It was more so the story was kind of involved with the creatures on the outside, kind of thing. If you know what I mean. I mean, so for example, you got the story, but then around the story at the side, you have the creatures, you have the beasts, but they're not so much, I would say, directly involved with the story. I think that's the only way I can put it. So there wasn't as much focus on these creatures. You see a lot. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of really nice scenes with these creatures in, and some really cool scenes with these creatures in, the beasts. But for a film that's called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, I think that may be a bit misleading for some people. Maybe that's just me. But I did really enjoy this film. I think it's a great start to what is a new, well, it's not even a trilogy. I mean, there's another 3 films planned. So I think we can say goodbye to trilogies maybe. But yeah, I think it's a great introduction into this world. I love David Yates' direction. I love his style. Like, again, it has a look. It feels like you're in New York. I mean, he achieved that kind of feeling of actually being in, I think it's the 1920s or 1930s. I'm not actually sure. I can't remember. But I think it's that sort of time era that it's based in. And I think David Yates did a very good job, along with the cinematography and everything else, to sort of capture that time era within New York. And I think it almost felt like you were there, like it was real. CGI. I kind of liked the CGI. I think the CGI was mind-blowingly good. Especially, like, the creatures were okay to good. I mean, they weren't amazing. I think the CGI in places could have been a little bit better. CGI could have been a little bit better in certain places. But overall, it was a very nice looking film. I can't really say, I mean, there was anything that stuck out and was like, oh, that's bad CGI. I mean, there was nothing like that in the film. I mean, the CGI was pretty decent. Going back to Ezra Miller's character, there was scenes mainly in the late second, third act, and there were scenes that actually made me. You could make my hairs rise a little bit. It made me, shiver in a way that you could feel this character's darkness inside, and you could feel his pain almost. And I think David Yates did a very good job in doing that, in creating that sort of atmosphere around this character. And I was more interested in Ezra Miller's character, Credence. And another one of my gripes, I suppose, is I wish the film focused more on this particular character. Yes, it's called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and that kind of element is loosely involved with this character and the story. But I was just so much interested in this character and where they were going to go with it. I wish the film had focused more on it. But yeah, going back to there was some scenes, mainly in the third act, and yeah, this film did get incredibly dark, which leads me to say, is this a film for everyone? I think some kids might find it a little bit frightening, but overall, I think it's kind of family friendly. But I think certain children might be disturbed by the film, might be scared by the film. One of my gripes, I would say, one of my major gripes in this film was the narrative. Especially the first 30 to 40 minutes, this film really struggled to lift off. It was very clunky. It kind of like it was the story was just struggling to take off, and even though it entertained me, I enjoyed the first 30 to 40 minutes, but it stood out to me that it had a very clunky first act, you could say. It just did really kind of struggle to take off, as if it was almost as if they weren't quite sure where they were going to go or how they were going to do it. I mean, but yeah, it was just a kind of very it just really, really, really struggled to lift off in that first 30 to 40 minutes. But I was immersed straight away into this world, and yeah, I did really, really enjoy it. The soundtrack by James Newton Howard, beautiful soundtrack. I really, really liked it. There was also, in a couple of scenes, there was a little sort of nod, you could say, to the Harry Potter theme. And talking about nods to Harry Potter, there were a few references in this film regarding Harry Potter, and that was quite nice as well. But they were just little nods, they were tiny little nods and mentions. I would say when it comes to humour, I don't think the film had a lot. I don't think the film had a lot of humour in it. But there was one scene that really stood out to me, and it made me chuckle, and I think it was all down to sort of you could say timing, and I just found it incredibly funny. And it's a scene, I'd say, in the middle act, and they're in this sort of underground bar in a club, and they're drinking these shots, and I think, if memory serves me right, they're called giggle shots or giggle drinks, something like that anyway. But it requires one of the lead characters drinking these shots, and it was a very quick moment, very sudden, outburst, you could say. But it made me chuckle, and to make me laugh, he's saying something, and that's not me saying, that's not me being pretentious and going, there's so many comedies out there that can't make me laugh because they're not good enough. What I'm saying is, I've got a very dry sense of humour, and when you get sort of slapstick comedies that are in your face funny, they don't really make me laugh. But it's the sort of dry sense of humour, and that moment did really make me chuckle, and I like that. But I would say I don't think there was an incredible amount of humour in this film. Did it need it? Not so much. I just really, really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed this other chapter in the world that J.K. Rowling has brought to us, that she's created, and I'm really, really liking it. I really, really like the look of the film. I love David Yates' direction. I love the musical score. The acting was okay. Eddie Redmayne stood out for me. But yeah, performance-wise, it was pretty okay. The film really struggled with the narrative. I think that was my major gripe. That first 30 to 40 minutes, the narrative was very clunky and it kind of struggled to take off. But once the film did take off, it was a really, really enjoyable ride. A very swift sort of ride. Yeah, and I think people are going to really, really enjoy it. For me, this film also had a bit of a powerful message in it. A little powerful message in it, buried within all this sort of fantastical kind of imagery and creations in this world. And that powerful message, really, to me, was about people being suppressed, and being prosecuted, or being bullied and attacked because of who they are. And these people, people that hide themselves, hide their true identity because they're afraid of what the world is going to do to them. And that was sort of conveyed in this film quite a bit, and or mentioned. And I thought, to me, that was quite powerful and important. And I like how J.K. Rowling did that with the story. I mean, there were a few lines as well that mentioned it, about America being kind of backwards in sort of equality, you could say, at that current time. I mean, God knows where the country's going to go at the moment. Who knows? But there was a little reference to that, and to me that was quite powerful. And again, that added a lot of depth to the film and a lot more meaning to the film, and in a way grounded the film a little bit. This was a very fun and imaginative world. It was a very immersive film, and it was great to see these different creatures. And there were some really, really kind of beautiful scenes involving these creatures as well. Some funny scenes as well. This is one creature, for the life of me, I cannot remember what it's called. It's like this little black furry little thing. It looks like a I can't think now, but it looks like something. This is just it's like a rodent, you could call it, and it's like a bit like a magpie. It goes for shiny things. And there's one particular scene in a shop window. I'm not going to mention too much because this is spoiler-free review, but that made me chuckle a little bit as well. A very fun and a very imaginative film, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with the future installments as well. I'll be giving Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them an A-. Thank you again for watching very, very much. This is a bit of a rushed review. I do apologise. I'm going away for the weekend, and I did actually think at last minute I might not have actually fitted this film in before going away for the weekend, but I squeezed it in this morning. Took me forever to get back because of rush hour, but I've managed to get my view across on this very, very enjoyable film. Really, really enjoyed it, and really glad they brought David Yates back as well to launch this new kind of chapter in this world, because, like I said, I really like David Yates' previous efforts. I did actually like Tarzan, The Legend of Tarzan. If you want to check that out, there's a link here. Check my review out of Legend of Tarzan. That's David Yates' latest film. Well, before this, before Fantastic Beasts, and I actually quite enjoyed that. Thank you very, very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Do you agree with my views of the film? What did you think about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them? Is it worthy to the Harry Potter franchise to exist in that world that J.K. Rowling have created? Let me know below, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon.